Hey guys, David with TWYCE Diecast. Last video I posted, I showed this Sierra Cosworth that I picked up recently. It is a new one for 2022. It is a super cool car and one I definitely wanted to play around and do some customizing. Today we're going to do a 30-minute custom, and that is kind of geared for people who are looking to get started into customizing their own Hot Wheels. This has all the bones of a fantastic custom, and I'll tell you why as we go through the process. So stick around. You're going to learn how to customize a Hot Wheels in 30 minutes or less. So getting started with this one, I looked online for some inspiration. This is a super cool car from the UK. And you can see this is one, I found some pictures, I think this was on Top Gear, of a black Sierra Cosworth, which is the vehicle that we have today. Kind of plain, but that's going to work great for our purposes today. So let's get it out and get going. The first thing I want to do is get these tampos and graphics off the vehicle. So a tampo, and you'll hear me refer to those, is the printing that's done by a machine on these Hot Wheel cars. So today I'm going to start with something new. It is a 50-50 acetone water mix. I've seen this on other channels, and after doing it for a couple passes I wasn't really satisfied. I ended up going to my old trusty standby, and one that you guys need to know how to do, because it is the easiest way to take tampos off of a Hot Wheels car. All you need, two things: a paper towel and a dry erase marker. This is one you can get at any office supply store, even Walmart, and you get to color. All you're going to do is color on your car the tampo area and the parts that you want to take off. The good thing about this process is it will not damage the paint underneath. The tampo graphics are put on the vehicle after they are fully painted. So you're just going to color where the tampos are and then use a little elbow grease and a paper towel to take these off. So we'll speed up the process as I color the entire car here. I'll let you guys listen to some music. Okay, so you're going to repeat this process maybe 2, 3, even up to 5 times. Sometimes the tampo ink is a little bit more stubborn, and we'll see that later on in the video. But here we've got the entire car markered up, if you will, and I'm just using my paper towel to rub it off, and you can see the progress. When it starts coming off on your paper towel, then you know you're getting there. When the color starts fading, you know that you're taking like the top layer of the tampo off, and once you get past that top layer, you're really going to start making some progress. It'll be very satisfying. Okay, so while I put on my last layer of marker, it's time to start figuring out what wheels we're going to use. I have had a pretty good bit of luck lately at Hobby Lobby finding this M2 Corvette that came with 3 extra sets of tires and wheels. So I thought maybe that would be a candidate. Looking at the rims, they're not quite what I'm looking for, and the tires are a little bit too beefy. Also at Hobby Lobby, I tend to find these green light wheel sets, which are made specifically for customizing your vehicles. This one happens to be a Ford set, so that's a good start because we are doing a Ford today. Got some 90s Mustang type stuff, another earlier Mustang, and then this set right here, that looks pretty close to what we're looking at, right? I think that's going to be the one we're going to use. So these sets come with 4 tires, of course, 4 wheels, and the axles that you use to connect them. So What we're looking at is the last bit of the stubborn tampo left after a lot of wiping. So we're going to have to go through and start really targeting these stubborn areas. So don't get frustrated. I've done this process 100 times on different cars, and there's just little parts that just tend to stick more than the rest of the tampo. So just keep at it, hit it over and over and over. So from time to time, you're going to need to wipe off the paper towel lint. Sometimes it kind of confuses you with paint that needs to come off or just paper towel. So after that, I take a look and just got a very small little bit here and there. We'll get that off, and I'm going to show you a different process that I use for paint that's stuck in the corners of vehicles or maybe in the door line. Anytime there's a crack on your vehicle, you kind of have to do things a little bit different. So for this process, I'm going to wind up going back to that 50-50 mix to get these stubborn little places in the nooks and crannies of this car. So what I'm going to use this time, not the paper towel, I'm going to put a angled Q-tip. It's not really a Q-tip, but it looks like one. It's got an angle on it, and it's got almost a point to it that you can put in the corners of these vehicles. Now, remember, we're using a 50-50 mix. Acetone, or, well, frankly, nail polish remover is where you'll find it in your house typically, is a very strong product. So if you are rubbing this product and you're hitting the edge of a door panel or a fender, the edges are where the paint is typically the thinnest. So if you hit it with acetone pretty hard and rub it, it's going to, you're going to knock the paint off really quickly, probably down to the bare metal, and it's not going to be a fun situation to try and repair that paint. So just be advised of that. I'm putting a little bit of this acetone on and gently massaging it with this Q-tip, if you will. Okay, so like I said, this is a 30-minute custom, and you guys are seeing just about every step of the way almost in the amount of time that it takes. I have pulled the Hot Wheels tire off with a pair of pliers. Just be careful not to scratch the paint of your model. I used the axle that came with the green light set. I stuck it through the hole that the Hot Wheels axle was in, and it came out the other side. I put the other tire on, and look at here. This is a pretty cool upgrade for our Sierra Cosworth. The wheels look pretty good. What do you think? There's the original. Here's our version. I'm going to add a few more minor details, starting with some license plates. I really like how the color contrasts on a black vehicle. We've got lensed headlamps, so we don't have to worry about those. Those look great already. And you can see right here, I'm trying to figure out how to do this license plate. There's no place to put the license plate. And I look at the car in the picture, and it's just mounted directly to the bumper. Now the back is different. There's a depression there for that. A while ago, I had ordered these from this fellow in Australia. Pause that and go to his website. It's the same name, just .com at the end. He has UK and Japanese license plates in 1/64 scale. I've cut out my front registration plate, and also my rear in yellow, and that's going to look really good against that black vehicle. So this is a decal. It is a water transfer decal. I'm going to show you both the front and the rear and some of the problems you might encounter when you do these. So the rear one goes on nice and easy. You put some water down to make it stick initially. Then you are able to, separate the decal from the backer, and you use a toothpick or something, not sharp, but something with a little bit of a point to get it in place. You want to blot it dry so that there is no water underneath the decal that will dry later and become an air bubble. This will allow the decal to adhere almost completely to the metal of your model. And this is such a simple little addition on a vehicle like this, for like a Hot Wheels, but it adds such a realism that you don't get without it, which is why I do it. I love it. So I'm blotting it dry, careful not to take the ink off the decal or tear it. I have to make sure we get it centered, because after it dries, it is going to be extremely difficult to move it later. So let's get our toothpick. Let's make sure it is right where we want it to go, and I think it needs to move over to the right just a little bit. So we'll get it perfectly centered before we tackle the front license plate. And I'll just tell you right now, the front license plate was a catastrophe. I learned from a video by Andrew at Maple Leaf Customs recently. Sometimes we need to show our mess ups, and guys, you're looking at one. I tried to super glue this license plate to the front bumper because I like the idea of it having a little bit of depth and being away from the bumper like it is just mounted, instead of being tampoed or decaled directly onto the front bumper. So I was going for a little bit of a 3D effect here, and I waited too long to get it in place, and this thing set and it was crooked. And the more I tried to correct it with my fingers, number one, I ended up gluing my fingers together. Number two, I ended up tearing the decal, because who knew super glue is pretty strong stuff. You thought I would have learned my lesson recently with the super glue. I messed up a lens. So I was trying to be careful not to touch anything but the area that I was going to put the license plate. And probably was a little bit too careful because it sat there too long and dried, and I ended up having to tear it off and start all over. So let's look at it. I decided after 3 attempts to glue it, I decided just to use a wet transfer decal method on the front bumper. So here is the way it looks. Kind of not the original plan, but I think it came out okay. We're looking at a car that is, 1/64 scale, so it's acceptable for me. And remember, we're doing a 30-minute custom here. Hope you guys like what you've seen and like the idea of this video. Just taking these tampos off and adding some license plates have really added to the realism. Let's look at what we started. Great looking model by Hot Wheels. Cool car, just pretty loud with the graphics. Here is how a few minor changes make it look a little bit better, in my opinion. This is David at TWYCE Diecast. I hope you've enjoyed this 30-minute custom. I hope you check out the rest of the videos on the channel and stick around. I'm glad you came by today. I will talk to you guys on the next video. Take care, everybody.